So the photo I wanted to talk about today is actually a photo of triumph. It was when I finally made some friends. So the two girls in the photo with me are the two girls that actually sort of broke the silence and became really close friends with me when no one else wanted to be. So it's quite an emotional photo for me, looking at it now. And you look at how young and innocent we were, and yet we were going through such really difficult and challenging times. So coming back into school today, the familiar smells, you're sitting at the desk, you get that sort of trepidation of going back and what it means to you. And, for me, it brings back some really tough memories. My troubles in school started when I was 13. And in America, where I studied, you go to school until you're 17, so you go 4 years. And the bullying started at 13 and went all the way until my final year. So for me, coming back into a school environment always gives me a bit of my heart skips a beat because it was really a tough time in my life. We wore tights to school and we wore a uniform, and the fun thing to do was to take the comb and tear your tights off. Well, in those days, tights cost a lot of money, and once you go through the 3 pairs you had for the year, that was it. I remember borrowing tights from a friend of mine. I went over to her mom's house because I didn't have any tights to wear because they tore them off again. And it was one of those things where, you just didn't feel safe anywhere. I had one experience where I finally got the courage to go to a basketball game. So I was in the school gym. It was the crosstown rivalry between my school and the other school. And I was settling in and I was kind of having a good time. And then I heard the noise, I heard this chanting, and I thought, well, that must be about the basketball match. But then I realized they were chanting my name, and they were saying Joanne Shields is fat between, one half of the gym and the other half of the gym. And, I just sat there, and when it occurred to me that they were actually saying that about me, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was sitting there, and I happened to be sitting next to one of the moms of one of the players, and she pulled me aside and she gently walked me out of the stadium. And I just remember sitting outside waiting for my parents because she called my mom and she said, come and get her, and something terrible happened. And, I just remember sitting there thinking, like, this is just not right. Like, why does anybody have to go through this? It just was so unfair and so cruel and right in front of everyone. And they pick on the one thing that made me insecure. So, I don't know. But those feelings carry on, and you just have to really rise above them, and you really have to fight, and you have to believe in yourself, and you'll go on and have a great life too. But my career has always been in technology, and I moved to Silicon Valley in late 1980s. I'm dating myself. I just had my 55th birthday. But I had this great career in technology, originally in silicon chips and, product development. And when the internet happened, I was really excited about it because I thought it was such an incredible potential to connect the world. And when you think about it now that you have over 2 billion people connected, someone's just connecting with me now. When you have over 2 billion, 3 billion people now connected in the world, there's great potential. So what drew me to working at these web development platform services companies like, Google and Real Networks and Facebook and Bebo was because I really believed in the promise and potential of the internet. I believed, I was like a utopian that one day we'd all understand each other a bit better. But a little bit into my career, I started realizing that there were some warning signs. Part of the fact that, you can be anonymous on the internet meant that people could abuse others. People could use this, incredibly powerful platform to, amplify hate and to harm people in all kinds of ways. And I made it like a personal mission to work in this area. And, I started working in government, and I built an initiative called We Protect, which is about stopping child sexual exploitation online and abuse and child trafficking and many of the things that, nefarious forces and criminality have sort of taken over on the internet and really harmed children. So for me, I've sort of taken my own experience and, being in technology, but also having the experiences I had as a young person, And I try to use those experiences for good and work on countering internet harms and crimes. And that's really become a personal life mission for me. I think the idea of anti-bullying ambassadors is incredible. I think that students, can recognize this and can feel the pain and suffering of another student more than anyone else. I mean, you're all going through the same experiences. You're all, growing up and learning, who you are and what you want to become, and they can feel the heartache, and they also understand the platform. So the idea that there's, someone to go to, that someone who is, is going to carry the torch and say, no, this isn't acceptable. Like, we're not going to let that happen in our school. We're not going to let that happen to anyone, I think is incredibly powerful. And I'm really proud to hear that there's so many young ambassadors taking up this mission. In the UK, 10 million children are going back to school. Over half of them will be affected by bullying. You can change that by helping us train an anti-bullying ambassador in every school. Go to www.antibullyingpro.com/back-to-school to find out how. Share your back-to-school picture and share your back-to-school advice using the hashtag #BackToSchool. This campaign is run by the Diana Award Charity.